Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We're outside near the Williamsburg Bridge. You can see it just over there. And it's a beautiful day, but it's a bit hot. And we've been walking in the sun. And that's not always the best for everyone to be outside in the heat and the sun. But in the shade, it's not so bad, is it? Okay, so we're reading from the Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
Canto 4, Chapter 25, Text 38.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 38. How can I expect to unite with others who are neither conversant about sex nor capable of knowing how to enjoy life while living or after death? Such foolish persons are like animals because they do not know the process of sense enjoyment in this life and after death. Purport. There are 8,400,000 species of life. There are also many different living conditions. In the lower grades of life, in plant and tree life, there is no system for sexual intercourse. In the upper grades, in the life of birds and bees, there is sex, but the insects and animals do not know how to actually enjoy sex life. In the human form of life, however, there is full knowledge of how to enjoy sex. Indeed, there are many so-called philosophers who give directions on how to enjoy sex life. There is even a science called Karma Sastra, which is a science of sex. In human life, there are also such deviations as brahmacharya, grihastha, divisions as brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha and sannyas. There is no sex life except in the grihastha or householder ashram. The brahmachari is not allowed any sex. A vanaprastha voluntarily refrains from sex, and the sannyasi is completely renounced. The karmis do not practice brahmacharya, vanaprastha or sannyas life, for they are very much interested in grihastha life. In other words, a human being is very much materially inclined. Indeed, all living entities are materially inclined. They prefer grihastha life because there is a concession for sex. The karmis think the other statuses of life are worse than animal life. For animals also have sex, whereas the brahmachari, vanaprastha and sannyasis completely give up sex. The karmis therefore abhor these orders of spiritual life. Yes, I think it's interesting. One of the things is that it's not that brahmacharis and vanaprastha and sannyasis don't have sex life, because if they don't, you can also have enjoyment subtly, or like through the energy of the opposite sex, you know. And in the grihastha, maybe they're the ones that have concessions, and they're the ones that they do this, they do that, but they may be more sense controlled because it's like having a whole big chocolate cake but choosing not to eat it all. And yet in the other ashrams, you look over the shoulder and look at that grihastha, and all you're doing is lusting over their chocolate cake.
There you go. The big darshan of Bhava Bhakti based on the purports of Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, and I guess the general idea here is that it's talking about the best codes of conduct, and in the sense that, yeah, those 3 ashrams, they voluntarily abstain, and so therefore their life is, you might say, less distracted by this desire for sense enjoyment. Whereas in the Grihastha ashram, there is, as Prabhupada says here, quote unquote, a license for sense gratification. So, text 39, the woman continued, in this material world, a householder's life brings all kinds of happiness and religion, economic development, sense gratification, and the begetting of children, sons and grandsons. After that, one may desire liberation as well as material reputation. The householder can appreciate the results of sacrifices which enable him to gain promotion to superior planetary systems. All this material happiness is practically unknown to the transcendentalists. They cannot even imagine such happiness. Wow. Okay, I got a long purport. According to the Vedic instructions, there are 2 paths for human activities. One is called Pravritti Marg, and the other is called Nivritti Marg. The basic principle for either of these paths is religious life. In animal life, there is only Pravritti Marg. Pravritti Marg means sense enjoyment, and Nivritti Marg means spiritual advancement. In the life of animals and demons, there is no conception of Nivritti Marg, nor is there any actual conception of Pravritti Marg. Pravritti Marg maintains that even though one has the propensity for sense gratification, he can gratify his senses according to the directions of the Vedic injunctions. For example, everyone has the propensity for sex life, but in demoniac civilization, sex is enjoyed without restriction. According to Vedic culture, sex is enjoyed under Vedic instructions. Thus, the Vedas give direction to civilized human beings to enable them to satisfy their propensities for sex gratification. Yeah, so these 2 specific margs or paths, one is Pravritti and the other is Nivritti. Pravritti maintains that even though one has the propensity for sense gratification, he can gratify his senses according to the directions of Vedic injunction, which is interesting, because before that it said that Nivritti means spiritual advancement. So it's interesting because then it says Pravritti sounds like spiritual advancement, but Nivritti actually means spiritual advancement. In the life of animals and demons, there is no conception of Nivritti, nor is there any actual conception of Pravritti. Pravritti Marg maintains that even though one has the propensity for sense gratification, he can gratify his senses according to the directions of Vedic injunctions. Did that make sense to you? Any thoughts?
No thoughts.
So, yeah, it definitely seems like some apparent contradiction that Nivritti is the path of spiritual advancement and Pravritti is the path of... So it seems that maybe, if I'm understanding, Prabhupada may explain further because the purport is a little longer, but if I'm understanding so far to stop, then Pravritti means, okay, I can enjoy my senses, but I choose to do that according to Vedic injunctions. Nivritti means, even though I can enjoy my senses, I don't enjoy my senses at all. So let's see.
In the Nivritti Marg, however, on the path of transcendental realization, sex is completely forbidden. The social orders are divided into 4 parts: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. And only in the householder life can the Pravritti Marg be encouraged or accepted according to Vedic instructions. In the orders of Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas, there are no facilities for sex. No, except it's very important, therefore, when you take to these ashrams to be convinced and be qualified and purified. Otherwise, you can really, well, you can obviously damage the reputation of the ashram, because all it takes is one bad egg to ruin things, and then at the same time people who you may be responsible for, caring for, obviously are going to get hurt and disturbed if you yourself are not able to follow this.
Sounds like you're more or less referring specifically to sannyasa ashram, I would presume, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay. Should we read on?
Yes.
In this verse, the woman is advocating pravritti marg only and is discouraging the path of nivritti marg. She clearly says that the yatis, the transcendentalists, who are concerned only with spiritual life, kaivalya, cannot imagine the happiness of pravritti marg. In other words, the man who follows the Vedic principles enjoys the materialistic way of life not only by becoming happy in this life, but also in the next life by being promoted to the heavenly planets. In this life, such a person gets all kinds of material opulences, such as sons and grandsons, but he is always engaged in various religious functions. The material distresses are birth, old age, disease, and death. But those who are interested in pravritti marg hold various religious functions at the time of birth, old age, disease, and death. Without caring for the distresses of birth, old age, disease, and death, they are addicted to performing the special functions according to the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Very interesting. Again, it has honestly actually always bewildered me a little bit, these two paths, these two margs, and understanding which is better and how it works. Mainly, I suppose that's because, in the Vedic path, there's not always a black and white. There's often a lot of gray area to fit into. But here we see that, a person gets all kind of material, sons and grandsons, because he's always engaged in various religious functions. The material distresses birth, death, old age, and disease, but those who are interested in pravritti marg, they perform various religious functions at the time of birth, old age, disease, and death. So I was thinking, it sounds like Prabhupada is referring to samskaras, which Prabhupada very much encouraged and endorsed for us to do. So it's a little confusing that, of course, if you're a pious householder, then you'll have a ceremony leading up to the birth of your child. You have the ceremony of death. Of course, when one is sick, you may also have a ceremony to try to remove any obstacles. And disease, old age, so an old age, something like that. But anyway, let's read on to see what Prabhupada has to say.
Yeah. Final paragraph. Factually, however, pravritti marg is based on sex life, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.45. Yan maitunadi griha medi sukha he tukcham. A householder who is too much addicted to pravritti marg is actually called a griha medi, not a grihasta. Although the grihasta desires sense gratification, he acts according to Vedic instructions. The griha medi, however, who is interested only in sense gratification, does not follow any Vedic instruction. The griha medi engages himself as an advocate of sex life and also allows his sons and daughters to engage in sex and to be deprived of any glorious end in life. A grihasta enjoys sex life in this life as well as in the next, but a griha medi does not know what the next life is about because he is simply interested in sex in this life. On the whole, when one is too much inclined towards sex, he does not care for the transcendental spiritual life. In this age of Kali especially, no one is interested in spiritual advancement. Even though it is sometimes found that one may be interested in spiritual advancement, he is most likely to accept a bogus method of spiritual life, being misguided by so many pretenders. Yeah.
The heat has baked their brain.
I think so.
Ekadasi, heat, baked brain,
Yeah, baked potato.
baked potatoes. Any thoughts?
Well, I guess one point that stood out was when one is too much inclined towards sex, he does not care for the transcendental spiritual life. So it doesn't necessarily just mean towards the gross act, but just that desire to enjoy. And I was thinking when the weather's nice like this, and it's like easy to just, it's really, I feel Maya's very at her strongest, you know. Everything looks nice, everyone's outside, nature is blooming, and you know, it's not like winter where it's dark, like literally dark by 4 o'clock, and it's cold, and it will stay like this until late evening, so it's just easy. And if someone says, hey, come over here and come to this program, or let's sit over in this room or whatever and go to a sangha to discuss this, or let's chant or whatever, you'll be like, oh, I'm just going to walk along the East River, or I'll just go this or that, or it's very easy to get carried away. And I think in that sense that's what stood out, that to be inclined towards spiritual life, especially if you're not used to as well this type of weather, that people go on holidays just for this type of weather. So when you see it, it's like the last thing you're thinking is, let me go to the exotic place for this type of weather so I can just study the Bhagavatam, you know. Or I can go to bed early when it's a lovely evening, so I can get up really early when I could be enjoying the night before, and then get out when I want to and enjoy all over again the next day.
Haribo. Okay, thank you all very much. Enjoy your nice sunny day or rainy day.
Your Maya. Enjoy your Maya day.
Enjoy your Maya day. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.